How's it going, everybody? Destauch here, and your boy did some guerrilla journalism and basically went to ArtStation and used the search function. So basically, I think I found some Halo Infinite tied concepts. Now, this first one comes from Rosalie, and while she currently works at Riot Games, she did work at Microsoft when she posted these, and basically, I think these are our actual first looks at the Halo Infinite Marines. Now, if you remember, initially in the first Halo Infinite trailer, we basically had some rips from Halo Reach for the Marines, and they looked identical. But when the Discover Hope trailer came out, we actually had a new type of helmet that we've never seen before, and it had a much cleaner look, and this actually bears a striking resemblance to this concept. As you can see, they both share the same forehead attachment piece and very similar goggles, so I think that this might actually be our first look, or our initial first look before we knew anything, that this was the Halo Infinite design. Moving on to our next one, it's the Vale helmet. Now, this was also claimed to be a personal project by the person who made it, which was Dmitry Galveric. Now, this was posted a year ago, and Dmitry doesn't work at 343, but he actually works at Spirasoft, and recently it was announced that Spirasoft works with 343 to help develop Halo Infinite. And while I initially thought that they just started helping, it actually turns out that they've actually been helping for around a year. So I actually got that wrong in my last video, but here I'm clearing it up, and yeah, they've been working with them for at least a year. But what brings credence to this is basically, this was posted around a year ago, so this was probably at the beginning or during their partnership with 343. And he basically states that, you know, it was a personal project, and, you know, but typically when they upload these types of models that might be tied to Halo Infinite or any concept in general, they usually give themselves some leeway and say that, oh, it's a personal project. And while it might very well be a personal project, there are some things on this design that make me feel like it might actually be directly tied to Halo Infinite. And another project that gave themselves some leeway, saying it was a fan project, was this one right here, which was the Halo level design test. And while it was never confirmed that this was actually tied to Halo Infinite, it did have striking resemblance to the type of level design we saw in the Halo Infinite demo. And like the other post, this one also claimed to be a personal project. But here we have the Vale helmet, and what makes me think that this is actually tied to Halo Infinite is the Gen 2 logo on the side. Now, typically, Gen 2 never had a Gen 2 marker on the helmet, but with Halo Infinite coming and Master Chief's armor primarily being identified as Gen 3 Mjolnir armor, I think a great way to differentiate the armors would be to have a Gen 2 logo on the side so we can see the old and the new. So I think that this might be her initial helmet, and maybe she'll get another helmet or she'll die. But you can see like there's cracks on the visor, and this makes me believe that this lends credence to the idea that Hyperius killed Osiris, because if you remember, we actually had the Hyperius Mega Block set, which had Locke's helmet as Hyperius's shoulder piece, so it looks like this battle damage could have come from Hyperius. But that's basically all I had to say on that. And last but not least, I think we have our most solid piece of Halo Infinite concept art, which is this portal right here. Now, this was posted around 5 months ago by Marine Fatima, and she basically had this demo set up where it was a portal and it was in a foresty setting. And initially when I thought of this, I thought, it doesn't look too much like Halo, but then I thought about the Halo Infinite loading screen, or you know, start screen, and you can notice that it has a very similar aesthetic to this piece of concept. So there isn't much to go on here, but she does still currently work at 343 Industries, and I think that a project like this, with how much detail is put into it and her current development at 343, I think that this is probably linked to Halo Infinite. And while it doesn't give us too much information, it does kind of give us an idea that these are portals. So I think a lot of people inferred that this was already a portal, but I think this is more evidence that it is a portal. And what this might mean in a gameplay sense is that perhaps these portals are used for fast travel, and they could also be used to, make the distance between the Halo Ring blocks, because you know that the Halo Ring is separated into blocks, and there was a recent interview that 343 had where they basically stated that you'll eventually find ways to clear the gaps between the ring parts. So I think that they could be talking about this. And to continue with that, I think these portals might actually have a larger emphasis in Halo Infinite than we initially believe, because if we saw it in the main menu, I mean, it must be pretty important. And I think the whole idea with the Slipspace engine is perhaps instant load times, and maybe that could be tied into why the graphics look maybe a little bit subpar. But basically, perhaps you can go through these portals and it'll be instantaneous fast travel. Now, I don't know if that's a gimmick or that'll be really cool, but I think that could possibly be why there's so much emphasis on these portals. Basically, instantaneous fast travel with no load times. So basically, that's all I had for you guys today. So what do you think? Do you think that these are actually concepts for Halo Infinite? Or do you think they're just fan projects? I'd like to know what you think in the comments. Anyways, this was Destauch, and remember, if you liked the video, please like it, and if you really liked it, try subscribing. This was Destauch, and I'll see you in the next one. Destauch out.